Hello everybody, and welcome back to FurnaceClans. I have been playing this fort for a year now. It was established in-game in the year 753. It is now 809. So 56 years have gone into this fort, and we've done a lot. I'm not going to bore you with the full review of the fort, but we've built the OMG, we have silk traps, we have magma feeding systems, we have a massive quarry of iron, we have made steel goods, we have multiple military systems, and we have walled up the surface. Any number of other minor things have occurred along the way, but let's go take a look at our surface, because that's what I've been mostly doing lately. Our surface is completely walled in now. We have one access path, right here on the left. We have a small area through here to allow our caravan access. As you can see, we have a little bit of wagon access that goes through. And that's it. While I was building this out, I had tried an overhead view with a couple of dogs in it to try and catch thieves and snatchers and things of that nature. Unfortunately, they didn't work so well. So what we have done instead is along this route downstairs, we have built dogs behind windows. And the reason for that is as enemies pass in, they'll usually cut the corners. And as they do that, the dogs should be able to spot them and force them to back off. The reason their doors are there is so that eventually we can go in and clean them out when they die off if we want to. You notice above, I have flooring around it, but I did not floor over the heads of the dogs. This is so when they do die as undead, I can go put a stack of archers right above it, shoot the dog down, and then we can replace it. Other than that, we have what we're looking for. We have completely cleared off the surface. Other than one or two random things that are lying around, we have completely cleaned out the surface. We've also cleaned out the entrance to the OMG, that entire stairway, which, by the way, had a lot of horse teeth in it. Now, I'd like to show you what we've done in the meanwhile, so that you can see how this all goes together. We go back up here to the surface. As I said, you'll notice I had wagon access here. If we come down one level, it comes to a trade depot. This is an airlockable trade depot. And as we come down again, you'll see it feeds right into the fort here. I've put a ton of floors all through, well, not floors, I put a ton of roads all through up here because I got tired of trees getting in my way while I was trying to go deal with things. That brings us over to this main stairway here, which we carved out and caved in through the aquifer a little while ago, which brings us down through the bathing pit and into the fort proper. The other thing that is going on up here is this is the access point into the OMG. So as we follow that down, once I seal up the trade depot, they have to come in here, and they flow through. Now with the trade depot open, obviously liaisons and migrants will come through the trade depot. If I seal it up, we have here the migrant entry, which I can open up. The reason that I will typically leave this closed right now is because I've been getting a lot of goblins with trolls, and they've been making it downstairs lately. Their building destroyer ability typically has them come in and break my hatch, which kind of defeats the point. So unless I've got migrants or something of that nature, I'm going to leave this closed. I'm trying to make sure I've almost always got a dwarf idle so that I have a lever puller kicking around. Speaking of the OMG, our spikes down here underneath in the lava runs have worked out incredibly well. They rip up anything that gets down in there, and we don't have to worry about them again. It usually only takes a pass or two of the minecart hitting this pressure plate to sweep them up and down, and we managed to get them working. Some point in the near future, I'll probably clear off the tracks again. I don't think I'm going to drain the pit for a long time. We have tons and tons of material. Down here, I had my storage bins and whatnot to collect up our metals and things like that. But if we head over to stocks, you'll notice here, I've got tons of material. I've got over 6,000 in iron, I've got 1,300 in copper, I've got some silver, got plenty of bronze. We've even got a decent amount of steel going. I'm not quite sure where I've got some forbidden. I think that may be down in the pit, but we'll find out here in a moment. But we've got plenty of stuff. I just recently did another charcoal run, and we've got plenty of ash that's going to be turned into lye shortly. I actually need to go set the jobs up so that'll start happening. Running a little low on soap, which is thus the lye. But we've gotten a decent amount of metals in just from melting everything down. Gotta love goblinite. In other news, our stocks, we've got 4,700 prepared meals, about 9,500 drinks. We've got 98 citizens currently. And we've been on a massive dog butchering scenario as we grow new puppies, just to start cleaning them out. Our bone pile was running low for a little bit, and we were having a couple of problems with children's special moods. One of the things that has been driving me nuts, and I can't quite figure out why, is the doors down here in the hospital seem to be stuck open permanently. I'm not quite sure why that happened. We're currently working on rock nuts and dwarven syrups and all of that happiness. Our farms have been going in full bore. And other than that, that pretty much covers it. Bring you in later, but I've started tinkering around with catapults. I'm going to give you a bit of information on catapult siege weapons and things like that, but that's getting organized as a separate full component, and I'll bring that back to you at some point. So that's what I've been entertaining myself with in the meanwhile. Otherwise, the fort's just sitting pretty. We've conquered the world, and we're good. We just have to wait until we have enough people in the fort that we can actually attract the Dwarven King. Now, to that aspect, one of the things I have done is I've set up a couple of Jedi units. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the joke, anybody using silver or steel whips, it's considered that they have a lightsaber. These weapons pretty much rip limbs off of anything. It has to do, especially in 3411. The contact area is so small for the weight that it just pretty much shears people into pieces. So I've created two melee groups using silver whips. They have a specific uniform called the Steel Jedi, and they get silver whips. 2 units is more than enough of melee. I'll start putting together some more crossbow units here eventually. This is our crossbow stack, but most of it's meltable ones, little bronze bolts and stuff like that. Our training has pretty much wiped out most of our bolt supply, so that's been getting in the way. But one of the things we also have been doing is building up greaves and helmets and things like that so that I can get the next set equipped. Actually, I think lately we were doing gauntlets, but either way. So we're just building up armor supplies. We'll just leave it there. And we'll get another crossbow unit together at some point. Since we're here and we're looking at the bathtub, one thing about this bathtub to keep in mind. Your dwarves constantly drop their babies when you use a bathtub of this nature because of the amount of flowing water. Just be prepared for some cancellation spam from it. It's not a big deal. You just go up, you uncancel the wall. The babies don't get lost. They just go pick them up, but they constantly get washed out of the dwarves' hands. Don't know why. But one thing you want to do is make sure that you've got a grate at the end for the drain. Otherwise, yeah, that's not going to end well. And that pretty much covers an overview of where we're at. We're probably going to have to dig another lane for any more slabs that we're going to put in if we need to. And we built out some new dormitories. I think we built them out down here. Yeah. Built out another 2 sets of dormitories, and I've got some good rock for another 3 or 4 layers going through there. We're not even bothering with the live fire pit. I've actually sealed these doors off, or at least I'm supposed to. There we go. Now they were. I had some cloth up here they had to pick up. But I've also modified the live fire pit slightly. I have floodgates on this end just to make sure that I can trap things in. But this is a giant bridge that now I can just slam down over anything in there, clear it out in case there's ever a problem again. I don't expect there to be. I don't really need to use that pit again. But all of this is locked off just to save some FPS. Now, one thing I do want to share with you is after cleaning all those goods out and cleaning up all the problems, you notice my FPS is dwindling here a bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. I'm stabilizing back at about 24, 25, which is quite nice. this is more than playable. Back in action without worrying about it. So between cleaning up the contamination and getting rid of all the tons of giant troll fiber hoods and things of that nature, we're finally back on track. So, that's a quick overview of where we're at. Happy birthday, FurnaceClans. You are 1 literal year old. I'll bring you back for the next interesting piece. Well, looky here. Something interesting popped by. A Savannah Titan, Asner, has dropped in. He's an enormous blob made of salt. He's a spur shell and regal bearing. Now, he's definitely a building destroyer. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to close up the outside of the trade depot, and hopefully we got somebody nearby who can go do that. And we're just going to watch his passage. You notice he's thinking about trying to get at the dog here, I think. I'm not sure where he thinks he's going. Alright, he's just kind of chilling out. He appears confused. So who's pulling my lever? Where are you? One of the problems with lever pullers. Yeah, all the way downstairs. Well, this could get ugly quickly. But he's not speed pathing into me either. So, my dwarves will get there, and apparently so will Asner. Kind of curious, what does his name mean? Asner Field Blossoms, the Rain of Seals. Okay. Apparently they have very salty seals out here. Ah, there's my lever puller. I think. I like that one dwarf passes him as he's going. It must have picked the slowest dwarf to get up here for the lever pull. And that should close up our bridge, and now our trade depot's safe, so... Okay, well, there's our interesting piece. He was busy. He was busy killing a dog. He apparently can break windows. I was unaware that Titans could do that. Well, we'll have to replace that window in a bit once we get this Titan dealt with. So, apparently I also have distractions available for Titans. Now, if I'm right, he's going to go through and break all my windows. So, all of my great design work, he's about to break. We're going to go see what he does. Bring it back once he stops smashing things. So I've been busy dealing with some other stuff and just kind of letting the fort run. Asner here is being a twit, and he's stuck trying to break things that are too close to him. So he's jammed up. But Alir Etuzdazmo, he's the human diplomat from Bihalamba, and he just got here. Guess where he just walked in right next to? Now, I was debating on sending the iron arrows up to try and get this guy moving. This may end poorly. Yep, going right after him. This is not going to end well. Looks like the no, there's his guards. I'm surprised they haven't destroyed this thing. It's only made of salt. So our blob of salt actually seems to be pretty quick. Now he's cleaning everybody out. Yep, looks like the Lasher was able to blow up the Titan. Not even a corpse left. So that may help out. Let's take a look at the wounds. Stunned in extreme pain. Some ribs are broken, lung is broken. Well, I'm not sure if they're going to hang around. But one of the things it does do is it lets me open the trade depot up again. And we're going to open up the migrant entry so that they can get inside. Because what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to flip the airlock on our trade goods here. Force everybody to come downstairs. So once our migrant entry opens up, they'll come down here and they'll come inside that way. So that got rid of my salt blob up here on the surface. I do have 2 corpses up here now that we're going to have to clean out, and I'll have to rebuild some windows, etc., etc. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not going to close up the trade depot yet. What time of the year? We are in late summer. Ambushes could be arriving. I take that back. Yeah, we are going to close that up because the late late portions of the season seems to be when most of my invaders arrive, and I don't want to get caught with that wide open, especially with this door now broken so that they can get through. Did not realize that that was going to happen. Well, live and learn. But hopefully our liaison can get inside without getting killed now, and we'll go from there. Now, one of the ways I have to control for when my dwarves are trying to and not trying to get to the depot is using the burrow. I will erase the burrow from the trade depot when I don't want my dwarves trying to access the goods that are in it. As you can see, most of my surface is burrowed and things of that nature. But down here, by removing that, I don't worry about them bumping into the airlock and constantly trying to cross through down here through the OMG to get up into it. I could leave the migrant entry down for them so that they can get up and around and back down via the OMG access here. I just don't even want to deal with it right now. There's absolutely no pressing reason I need to get into there. And this is part of why I wanted to flip the airlock. The human caravan has just arrived, so they're going to pass over into our trade depot. The corpse that was up here before has already wandered itself down to the OMG. We'll get these caravans in. We'll flip the airlock once they're completely inside. Now, one of the things you may have noticed is, while I have the diplomat here, I closed this migrant entry up. The reason I did that was because he can leave this way. Usually what happens is our diplomats come out here and run off the edge of the map up on our bridgeway system, which we used to seal off Z0. So they can leave that way, they just can't get in that way. So once they're in, I don't have to worry about them too much. Just going to let these guys come in. What I'm waiting for is for everybody to get past the bridge. Now you'll notice I moved this bridge back this way some instead of right next to it. The reason for that was you need basically around 2 around your trade depot to make sure that their guards don't get squished. So what we're going to do is we're going to close the airlock on one side, on the outside, and then we'll open up the inner airlock and we'll start dealing with the trade. Last time these guys came to visit me, they were not able to unload their goods before they were ready to depart, so I never actually was able to trade with them. We're going to see if this goes a little better. Now, with our airlock swapped, I need to go down. We were doing a massive plant collection down here in the tree farm, just beefing up our stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel all these designations so to get some idlers for hauling. There we go. Now I got a few idlers, or at least I will shortly. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some trades goods moved. Now, one of the things you can do to get rid of all of your old clothing is come down here and head for bodywear, handwear, headwear, things like that. Now we're going to select and we're going to start them with X. We're just going to have them transfer all of these goods for trade. This lets me get rid of all of this masterwork trade goods that have been used or worn, so they're not going to be used really again. They're going to try and go for new gear. But it doesn't cause the bad thoughts that you would get from throwing them in the magma. When they're traded away, their owners forget about them and they just disappear. So that's all we've got there. Now the other place you can go is all the way up here to all. And you can go through this way. But you'll notice, like, I'm picking up all my bauxite mechanisms and stuff like that. It's not like I can get X star. So we're just going to get that traded. Now you'll notice I also have a bunch of finished good bins that were also there. And we're going to make sure those are set up for trading as well. And by simply setting these depending, since they're already here in these totems. Oops. We're not trading the cloth bins. Don't need to trade the booze off either. And if you want to see what's in an item, you hit V here, and you can go inside and look at the items. Now you notice I got a bunch of stuff that's set for melt there. We'll bring this totem bin over. So, with the bin, sometimes you gotta go in and look, especially for totems, because totems are hard to find. Actually, that entire thing should be dumped. So you can go into here and actually dump items while you're poking around looking for things. So you get the idea. I don't need to have you sit through me going through all this stuff. I'll bring it back shortly. So after getting all of that stuff up and trading off just all my excess totems that we just crafted because we've got skulls and no reason not to, and basically sending all of the worn goods out to the dry cleaners, I got 51,000 dwarf dollars worth of trade goods to go play with. I think we're good for a bit. So I'll just pick up some of the random stuff I don't quite have yet and basically clear them out. I do tend to buy them out of surface, berries and stuff like that, strawberry stuff like that, just for some alternate drinking items, like tuber beer, prickleberry wine, stuff like that. So that's really all I'm using them for, is just to get some diversity, because we can't do surface crops. But other than that, we're pretty good. So that's that, and once we're done with the trade and everybody pretty much empties out what we need to from there, I will flip the airlock and let them out. So our traders have departed. They went out the way they came in, and we're just resetting up some dogs here. I'd accidentally put a female up here, so she had some puppies, and rather than allowing them to beat up each other and attempt to kill each other inside the little area in there, I decided to let them out. And we're currently training up some more dogs to leave out here, making sure they're males this time. And from there, I'm still playing with my catapult testing. We're still working that out. But other than that, Fort's just kind of trucking along. Right now, my furnace operators are melting down all sorts of instruments and things like that. And I've got a lot of stuff stuck in the walls. If I look at my stock screen, I can go and jump to an item. For example, there's a ton of iron bolts out there stuck in one of the outer walls. And I may start drilling into the walls one at a time, going in, collecting the goods out, refill that piece of the wall, rinse, repeat, until I can clear more of the random crap off the map, because there's still a lot of stuff out there. But other than that, you guys really don't need to watch me do that. That's going to be tedious and boring. So I'm going to leave you with this as the end of this episode of FurnaceClans. I know this one ran a little longer than a lot of the ones I've done lately, but it seemed like it was a set of interesting events at the very least. And, well, I want to do something a little special for the 1-year anniversary. Again, guys, I wanted to thank you all for watching. You've been with me for a year, and you've watched me go from some of the worst videos I think I have ever seen, never mind created, to what you're getting now, which will, I'll call myself an amateur. But thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for watching. Keep the comments coming. They definitely help drive the series. And I'll see you next time.